remember when I was a teenager, one of my biggest fears was the fear of being alone. And I remember it clearly. I remember walking through high school. And my high school was a big high school. And I remember walking through it and feeling like I had nobody. I feel like I was walking through and, and even though it was a lie, because I did have friends and I did have family and so many things that I did have, I always thought I had nothing or no one. And this fear came from the idea of, what if I don't find anybody by the time I'm old? And so I got to thinking, like a few days ago, like, why should I fear that? Why would I fear that? Because I've proven many times that you're never alone. Even if you try to be alone, you never are. You always have somebody. And I'm not talking about God. I'm talking about someone here in this earth, flesh and bone, human. And so it doesn't really matter how alone you feel. If you're feeling that way, it's because you feel like you did something wrong. And so you believe that you should be alone. As high school progressed in my life, I started to notice this. Like, I started to notice, why did I feel so undeserved? Why did I feel so alone? And then I started to understand, it's because I thought that nobody could understand what I was going through. And I had this belief that nobody could understand what I was going through until my first retreat here in the US. Let me give a little backstory. When I got here, I got here and I just finished 6th grade over there in Venezuela. And I got here, and I got here to a private school. I didn't know how to speak English, hence my accent. I didn't know how to speak English. I didn't know how to communicate. It was awful. Like, I couldn't communicate with anybody. And so 7th grade ends, and then I am moved to a public school. So whichever friends I made in 7th grade, I didn't have in 8th grade. And now this is still middle school here. So 8th grade happens, and I managed to make a few classmates, I guess. And then I graduate middle school, and I go to one of the biggest high schools in Florida, if not the biggest. When I'm talking about the biggest, it's because this high school has 5,000 kids. And so, yeah, I mean, I still could see some of my friends that I made on middle school, but it was so big that you would never really know anybody, because all your classes were like college. It's not like you moved from class to class with the same group of people. No, you had this class, and then you had this class with a different group of people, and you had this class with a different group of people. And so, you never really get to meet anybody. And all of this adds up to my idea that nobody could understand what I was going through, because I changed schools 3 times, and I didn't know anybody, and I felt alone. But then one of the friends that I managed to make in 9th grade, I found him again in one of my classes in 10th grade. And he tells me, dude, come to this retreat. And I'm like, what? Excuse me? Church retreat? Nah, I'm good, thanks. But then again, he kept insisting and insisting and insisting until it was Thursday of that weekend. It was a retreat, and Thursday came. It was nighttime. I asked my parents, thinking that they were going to say no, and they said yes. That was probably the best thing that could have happened to me. Because that's where I understood that my problems exist somewhere else than in me. And that other people understand what I'm going through. And from then on, I stopped believing that I was alone. I stopped feeling that I was alone. Again, I'm not talking about being alone, but you have God. Well, in that time, I wasn't a fan of religion. But anyway, this retreat happens, and I make the friends that I know today. And thanks to those friends, I made new friends, and I have my group of people, even though we didn't go to the same classes, or we're not even graduating at the same time. Now, 6 years later that I'm almost graduating college, we're not graduating at the same time. They're still my friends. They're still my family. What's my point with this video? If somebody that you know is inviting you to do something scary for you, like, for example, if you're shy and they're telling you, dude, come play bowling with us. It's just an example. Say yes. Get out of your comfort zone. Because all of this originated for the fact that I stayed inside my comfort zone. And this comfort zone, although I felt comfortable, I was trapped. I wouldn't grow. I would still think the same thoughts. 3 years had happened. I was thinking, dude, my life would be so much better in Venezuela. And you know, now, today, I understand why God brought me here. Right now, Venezuela is, well, you should go check the news. Well, not Venezuelan news, because the Venezuelan news don't show anything. Go check the New York Times, see what's happening. But anyway, until that point that I was brought out of my comfort zone, I was not able to get out of the same thoughts. Getting out of your comfort zone brings growth. And that's important. Well, of course it's important. Of course it is. I mean, without growth, you will always think the same things. You will always not understand the same things. And you will always be stuck. And that's not the point. That's not the point of any of this. It's like being in a video game and you're stuck in the same level. Always. And you can't advance. So my encouragement of this video is go out of your comfort zone. Go out with people that you don't know. Be outstanding. Be courageous. Believe that you can, because you can. And always, always remember that you're not alone. There's always one person there for you. Heck, it could be me. But there's always one person there for you. That's how life works.